Well, thanks so much for finding us here on 680thefan.com alongside Kevin McAlpin, Ben Ingram here with you. And happy to be coming to you once again from Baseballism, right outside the ballpark here in the Battery. All sorts of great attire for the baseball fan. We'd encourage you to get down here at some point. Anytime you get down to SunTrust Park, definitely a must-see to drop in, see what the latest gear looks like. Take a look at this cool floor that they have here, all kind of things set up here. And we really enjoy broadcasting from here. And once again, some specials and things that are going on. Mother's Day right around the corner, so all sorts of reasons to get in here.
Yeah, it's not just for us guys, Ben. It's men, it's kids, and it's women. And let's not forget Mother's Day right around the corner. I brought my lovely bride in here a couple of weeks ago, and the first thing she noticed was this glove leather bag. And coming over here today, she actually said, make sure you bring one of those bags home for me. So I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of shopping when we're done. But as Ben mentioned, some unique stuff you can only get right here in the Battery, Atlanta. These cool Atlanta t-shirts. They also have the Win the Battle shirts. And this great hat they actually gave away at the grand opening last week. So a lot of really cool, unique stuff. Get down here early. If you're coming to the ball game, stop on in here. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee you will not leave here empty-handed.
Yeah, it's a really good spot, place you can come in and really look around and say, man, I want this, I want that, I'll take that over there. It's hard to walk out of here with just one thing.
Yeah.
But drop on into Baseballism anytime you come down and watch the Braves play. A topic that we were discussing last week, and this is going to be a topic of this show, is the evolution of the pitching rotation. And we were talking about this on the pregame show last week. I was with Chris Domino and Mark Lemke, and we were talking about how at one point pitching rotations were 4 guys. Heck, a long time ago it was 2 guys.
Yeah.
We had 2 pitchers. And over the years it's gone to 4, and now 5. And something that some baseball people have been discussing here lately is, could we ever see a 6-man rotation? And as I said on the pregame show that time, we're going to have traditionalists and people who are old school baseball people coming at us with pitchforks and torches and trying to run us out of town.
Yeah.
But it's something that could actually happen. We're talking about Don Sutton, and Don is, of course, on our broadcasting team here with the Braves Radio Network, and Don was part of maybe the last great 4-man pitching rotation. He, along with Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax and Claude Osteen, were legendary in L.A., and it wasn't too long after that, maybe 10, 12 years or so, where we saw a 5-man rotation for the first time. And Don was a part of a really good one with Hooten and some of those other guys in L.A., and we saw a tremendous 5-man rotation here in Atlanta with Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and Avery. I mean, just the list went on with so many great Braves pitchers in the 90s. But Kevin, we're getting to a point now where baseball is becoming more and more specialized on the mound, and we're seeing more and more specializations of relievers. And you start to wonder, could we see a 6-man rotation at some point along the way?
I think we could, but I think it depends on what team you're talking about. I think if you're, say, the Atlanta Braves, for example, I think you don't have to look much further than right around the corner. You've got 2 guys in their 40s, in Bartolo Colon and R.A. Dickey. Don't tell me that those guys wouldn't take an extra day off every week if they could get it. You know, they're used to pitching every 5 days, but
lengthen a career.
Absolutely.
And a lengthened career means more money.
Absolutely. So I think if you ask them, they would probably tell you, you know what, not the worst idea I've ever heard, but I think it all depends on a team-by-team basis. I don't think you can just come out and paint a broad canvas and say, Major League Baseball teams are on a whole going to look at going to a 6-man staff. I think it depends on your personnel. It also really changes the dynamics of what your team will look like. You think about, you're so used to seeing 5 guys on the bench, 7 in your bullpen, and then 5 in the rotation. Now you add a guy, okay, now where is that extra roster spot coming from? Because I can't see a Major League Baseball saying, you know what, we're going to let you have a 26-man roster now. So I think, it changes. Do you have 1 less guy on your bench? Do you have 1 less reliever in your bullpen? How does it play out? So I think some teams it could work. Maybe other teams it could work for a short period of time. But for 162, and I don't know how you feel about it, I don't see how it could work for all 30 teams for 162 games.
I agree. I think there are teams out there struggling right now to find a 4th guy in their rotation, a 5th guy in their rotation. They may think they have the personnel for 1 or 2, and after that, they're just scrambling and just running a taxi service between their big league club and the AAA ball club, trying to shuttle guys in and out, trying to find somebody who can work for their rotation. It is something that I think is on a case-by-case, team-by-team basis. Here, it could possibly work. Let's just say that in the here and now, that Dickey and Colon wouldn't mind an extra day. And let's say that Lucas Sims is 8-1 at AAA with a 2.12 ERA and a WHIP of just over 1. Well, at that point, you'd have a 6th guy that you could say, well, this works out because we don't want to just take this young kid and just throw him right into the deep end.
Right.
In a six-man rotation, he can gradually work his way in. Our older guys, Cologne and Dickey, would get an extra day of rest. That would help prolong their careers. And in this case, here in Atlanta in 2017, it might work. It could be beneficial. And that's the word I want to use, is beneficial, because we're talking about winning baseball games. The traditions, the records, the numbers, things that you're used to, that's all second nature. That's all in the back seat for a general manager, a manager, people in the front office. They want to win baseball games. And if it's more beneficial, they feel like they can win more baseball games with 6 guys, I'd expect a team to do it sometime soon. Like you mentioned, I don't think we're going to see that widespread in Major League Baseball. I don't think 30 teams are all of a sudden going to spring training looking for 6 guys. I think 5 is probably the number we'll see for a long time. But the other door that you open, and this is something I just mentioned a second ago that's kind of taking a back seat, but something that would pay attention to from a fan's perspective, are the individual records.
Yeah.
Winning 300 games is something that we may not ever see again. We recently saw Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine do that. Kevin, I don't know that we'll ever see that again. I know we won't see it again if you see more teams than not with 6 men in their rotation rather than 5.
That 300 number used to be you're a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Now you wonder what that number becomes, because guys aren't going deeper into games. There's less chances to get wins. You have more specialized relievers. So does it become 250? Is it 225? Is it 200? I mean, are you looking at guys that win 200 games in 10, 15 years and saying, you know what? That guy had a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
It's very, very – but now you're measuring them up to guys like right here in Atlanta, and Don Sutton, who had 324 wins, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, you're telling me that a guy who wins 201 is in the same category as a guy who wins 324 games. It's just bizarre. So it does change a lot. The game has evolved, and I get that aspect of it, but I can't see a guy who has 202 wins talking about him on induction day going into Cooperstown.
Right. I think when rotations went from 4 to 5, it became widespread pretty quickly. I think if you start to see a team or two start to go from 5 to 6, I don't think it's going to catch on quite as quickly as it did from 4 to 5. So I think we're kind of hitting the limit here. I think we're trying to figure out where the ceiling is. And at a 5-man rotation, I think you're bumping into it. And I really think it's going to become a situation where if we feel like there are 6 guys and it benefits us to give a few guys an extra day off, then sure, we'll go to 6. But unless that's the case, it's hard to imagine we'll see widespread 6-man rotation in Major League Baseball.
Well, and I look back to last year and Snit talking to him every day pregame. How many times did we hear him say, we just need fill in the blank, whether it's Joel De La Cruz, whether it's Ryan Weber, plug in whatever name you want. We just need him to get the wheels off the ground of the plane, and then we'll figure it out from there. We just want him to get us 4 innings.
Right.
So the Braves had trouble getting 4 and 5 starters the last couple of years. Now you're talking about we need 6, and we need a 7th and 8th, and maybe even a 9th at AAA that we feel like if we need him, we can throw him in there. So, again, I think it's on a very specialized basis, team by team. There could be some teams that have 8 or 9 guys that they feel are ready. But injuries are going to happen. Things are going to happen along the course of a 7-month season. So I just can't see it becoming something that takes off. I think it's going to be a very slow, gradual feeling out, and I don't think it would work long term.
Our synopsis, we don't think it's going to go widespread anytime soon. However, managers are open to it. We spoke with 2 last week when the Mets were in town. We spoke with Brian Snitker about this situation, and we spoke with Terry Collins about this situation, and both managers said, and they said that other managers they talked to feel the same way when the topic comes up. If the right situation came about for 6 guys, they're open to doing it and probably would do it. It's just those situations have not come up and risen to a point where it would be beneficial for the ball club. So I did find that pretty interesting. Neither of those managers took the traditional approach saying, we would never do that. 5's our number. We've been proven throughout Major League Baseball that that's how it's going to be. Both guys are open to change. And I think if you're a manager, you have to be open to all sorts of change. It is interesting, though, in the period that we're watching the game in, it is a transition period in the sense that 20, 30 years ago, you would see guys starting pitchers going 7, 8, 9 innings routinely.
Yep.
You might have a guy come in out of the bullpen, he finishes things up, maybe with 6 out save, maybe a 9 out save. In the early days of the closing pitcher, those guys are going out there, getting up and sitting down 2 or 3 times. They might go out there in the 7th inning.
Yep.
Go look at the times that Goose Gossage took over in the 7th inning and finished things out. I've had this conversation with Jay Howell before, back when he was on our broadcasting crew, who closed games for the Dodgers and others, where he'd said when a save situation came about, it wasn't limited to the 9th inning. Sometimes it was the 7th and the 8th.
Right.
But over the years, we have seen it much more compartmentalized, where it's starting pitcher, 6, 7 innings, setup guy, closer in the 9th inning. It's very rare you see a closer on for more than 3 outs.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a position where we're trying to quantify exactly what is successful long-term, Hall of Fame-wise, for each different position. And for closers right now, that seems like it's 550, 600 saves. For starting pitchers, we're talking about getting 30 starts a season. If you can go out there and win 20 ball games, that's great. But you're not seeing these guys go nearly as deep in ball games as you used to.
How many times do you see that 100 pitch mark come around and you see the activity in the bullpen and managers come out and pull the hook, no matter what is going on that? I mean, you've seen guys.
Guy could have retired 15 guys in a row. Hey, he's at 100 pitches. Bring the hook out.
Yeah, you've got, and again, that goes back to the analytics side of baseball and how things are evolving now. And you're looking at specialized relievers. You've got your 7th inning guy. You've got your setup guy. You've got your closer. So you line things up. And again, that's sort of the way things have evolved. I'll be curious to see what if we had this conversation 10 years from now. If we look back and say, you know what, that 6-man rotation did work, or it did save guys, or maybe it was a complete disaster. So again, I can't see it happening. But again, I see why teams do it. There's a lot of money they've got tied up in some of those guys in the back of the bullpen. Those guys get paid a lot of money to close out games.
And in closing, there are a lot of individual pitching records that are safe for all time. No one's going to come anywhere close to Cy Young's 511 wins. Nobody's going to touch the Nolan Ryan strikeout record. I don't know if anybody's getting back to 300 wins. Certainly nobody's going to touch Walter Johnson's 110 career shutouts record. That will never be touched. These guys just aren't going 9 innings anymore. But it is a change. It is an evolution, and the game will continue to go through that evolving process. And we just hold on for the ride and try to make the best of it and try to figure things out. But that's where we are right now, and I thought it was a good conversation to have on this show. So once again, as we close up, make sure you make your way into Baseballism. All sorts of cool things to get in here and check out. It's the kind of place where you come in and I dare you to just walk out with one item. It's hard to walk out of here without a handful of goods from the floor here at Baseballism. But we're right outside the ballpark, and maybe next time you drop in, you have an opportunity to visit with us, because we're here pretty often shooting these shows. So till next time, make sure you continue to come back to 680thefan.com to find more of our video podcasts. For Kevin, I'm Ben. We'll talk to you later.